Hey guys. Well, first things first. I managed to get another liaison in from back home. So we're going to put some orders up. We're going to order up some leather, because we could always use more leather. And we're going to order up... I've got plenty of silk, believe it or not. I'll show you what's going on there. What we definitely need is yarn, because yarn's becoming a significant issue. Other than that, there's not a lot we need from the homeland. I'm just double checking, making sure there's nothing else in here I particularly want from them. We'll order some gypsum powder, because that's usually helpful. And other than that, that should pretty much take care of what we want. Oh yeah, we want to order some logs from them, because lumber's becoming annoying. So there we go. I will bring you back once I find out what this diplomat's going to elevate me to. Hey, FurnaceClans is now a county. Our liaison has left at successfully meeting with us. So she's now our countess instead of our baron. We've moved up in the world. Closer and closer, we're getting to that Mountainhome. Now I do need to see what she's complaining about. Bring her back shortly. So now that the silk trap isn't covered in webs and a whole bunch of other things, let me show you what's going on here. Alright, first of all, you'll notice I have a series of bridges. And this is just a small T-square where the dog hangs out on. You can see it easier if I go down a level where the walls are. And to make sure I don't get any accidents, we're going to lock up the upstairs. Now what's happening here is these bridges are set to open and close on a repeater. Let me show you. So if you wait, you'll notice they disappear and come back. Repeat. So this is going to go back and forth. As sickle sprays webs, it's going to sit there and open and close these bridges, dropping webs down one level to here where they can be collected. However, when I open this front door here, this is going to be far too fast for my dwarves to head in, get the webs, and get out without being scared by Sickle, who's going to be sitting right here. But I wanted to show you how this was going to work. Now if you come down here, how this is all happening is via this minecart repeater system. This is not my design, it's stolen off a web thread. I'll put the link down in the information below on this video. But this is a 209 tick repeater. So this basically creates waving bridges. As soon as they finish closing on 100 tick and 100 tick, they're basically being reset to open again. What I need to do is I need to expand this system so they'll open for 100 and close for, say, 1,000 to 1,100. This way I'm constantly dropping webs for usage. Now, I'm very aware that this system works quite well. I'm going to pop the lever to take the bridge off the repeater. Because if we take a look at my stocks, where is thread? You'll notice I have 209 Forgotten Beast Silk thread. What that doesn't show you is I also have 90 Forgotten Beast Silk cloth. So I wasn't running this for very long. Maybe I'd say 15-20 minutes at most. And I've already gotten more thread than I'm probably ever going to use. However, doesn't mean I can't get more. So what we're going to do is I'm going to adjust this repeater system so the minecart runs for longer periods of time as it goes through the repeater. And I'll show you how that works with the magic of editing. Like so. And now we have our track expanded. And as you can see, it takes it much longer to run through the system. I'm not sure I have the speed boosters quite right on this yet. I had to adjust this once because I had made the left-hand side a little too long. I was a little too ambitious with it. But it seems like this is traveling at just enough speed to keep doing what we needed to. And to give you an idea how fast the bridges move. So, they open, they close. And it goes round and round. Just giving you a feel for the timing. This is more than enough time for a dwarf to run in underneath, grab some webs, come back out, and there it goes again. So with that, what we'll have is we'll have a continuous cycle of webs coming from Sickle onto the dog, dropping down below, and our weavers can grab it up. Now to make life a little quicker, I created 3 looms right next door to picking it up, and they're going to be dedicated to web collection. So we will continue that after we get our dog put back where he needs to be. So now I can show you how this works in action. Now, if you'll notice, our dog is down in the bottom left corner of the T. And you'll have to bear with me, I've got ambushes coming in, so I'm going to get a lot of combat reports. So what we're going to do is let him get webbed up. But you'll notice, the sickle is just spraying webs all over the place up here. Alright. Now, if we come down here, oops, we will unforbid our minecart so it goes into the system. Oops, I gotta re-pull that lever. Depending on where sickle is, depends on which way he spews webs, which is why I've got bridges all over the place up here. See, so there it went. The bridges reclose. Now I've got a bunch of webbing down here for them to pick up. This door up here is locked. This door is not. So what we're going to do is we're going to unsuspend and put repeat on a bunch of collect web jobs. And we're going to wait for somebody to come up and take one of those jobs. So here comes Azan. He's our sheriff. He's going to run around down here. He's going to grab himself a web, and off he goes. So we'll have constant web drops, and we'll be able to constantly turn them into thread. He'll just keep running back and forth, picking up thread. And our bridges will slowly, constantly open and close, just dropping more webs down. And while that seems complex, hopefully I broke it down enough that into each individual little piece, you can understand what needs to happen. The first thing you need is your webber. You need to trap him behind fortifications. Then you need something to open and close so that you can control when he can see your target. Next thing you need is a target, something for him to spray webs on. That's really all you need. Everything else on this is overly complex. Because you could seal this up, open the door, and just have them come in and collect the webs from around the dog. If you want to make your life easier, what you do is you surround your target with bridges. It lets you drop your webs outside of the target area, and then you can pick them up mostly without incident. I've overly complicated this by, putting in a repeater so that my bridges will open and close so that I can have constant flow without constant interruption by forgotten beasts like so. All I have to do is seal up this front door for a little bit when I'm ready to stop being annoyed by those announcements, and I don't even have to worry about it anymore. I can open up the top door, I can have the guys go in and collect some webs up. This poor dog is pretty much permanently stuck right there. He's got some silk webs right underneath him at this point. And that's just it. If you have any questions, drop a comment. I'll walk through any concerns or problems that you guys may be having with your own version of this. But hopefully this makes sense. So I realize I haven't spoken much about my military. One of the things I've recently started doing is all the new children are getting numbered. Hopefully they don't all worship the same god, or that's just going to invite a whole sorts of other problems. But anyway, our numbered children are going into the military. What I've done is I've created a new squad. Number 001 became a militia captain. This militia captain has got a new squad called the Iron Arrows. They were handed the same uniform as the original 7. That is to say, let me show you. We go to uniforms. We go over here to 4 the 7, which is basically a crossbow with steel. They get metal breastplates, because I didn't always have iron. Steel, excuse me. So steel mail shirts and breastplates, helms, greaves and gauntlets, high boots, double high boot, because I was having a problem getting high boots assigned. It was becoming a real problem. I should actually probably remove the second set of high boots or create another uniform, I'll probably create another uniform, but it'll look like this. A shield and a crossbow. Also, they get... Oh, no, not equipment. I want supplies. So they'll carry a drink and they'll carry 2 food. You can change that if you want. Ammunition I need to set on them because they are a crossbow team. They've been set for any bolts, combat, and training, so they'll use whatever they have. And from there we have to get into scheduling and alerts. And I'll get you there in a second, but hang on. Let's go down to the military. We've got our first barracks put together. We're going to assign this to the Iron Arrows. They're going to sleep there, and they're going to train there. And if you've noticed, I've also put archery ranges in the back. So they're going to shoot from left to right. I'm going to assign this to the Iron Arrows for training. So all of my archery ranges inside this little barracks area are assigned to them. Now we have to go to military and scheduling. This is where life gets curious. Start in the military screen. Now, if you'll notice, S is schedule, A is alerts. A, we're not going to touch for the moment, okay? We'll come back here. We're going to go to schedule. Across the top, when it starts up, is the name of the unit you're trying to work with. You'll notice the plus and minus up here. We have to plus over to find the iron arrows. I'm going to move them to the left-hand side. Now, you'll notice they're set to train. If we go back, these guys aren't. This has to do with whether the squad is active in alerts. Hang on, we'll get there. Now, what we're going to do, you'll notice it's set here to train 10 minimum. We're going to adjust that. So first, I'm going to cancel. Oops. We're going to clean that out. Okay, no scheduled order. The reason I'm not going to schedule any orders right now is they're just going to be on straight up training. You don't set train here to have them use archery targets. Training means that they're actually going to spar or go to classes with their squad mates. So what we're going to do here is we're going to leave here. Well, actually we're going to go to alerts. Now this is civilian alert, that's inactive, and that's active training. So what I'm doing here is each schedule can be set depending on how you activate the squad. Active training, no scheduled order. There is one other thing I wanted to show you though when we're here inside the activity screen. There's two things here. When they're inactive, you can either have them uniformed or in their civilian clothing. Don't do this. It's broken right now. What they have to do is they have to hang up their armor, they have to go get their clothes. It's a real pain. Just leave them uniformed. It makes your life so much easier. Now here, sleep in room at will, we want them sleeping in the barracks. Now, they can either sleep in the barracks at need, at will. I'm not entirely sure what the difference between in barracks at will and in barracks at need are. I typically leave it at will. And that will help keep your soldiers down in the barracks area and keep them out of your hair. Now this is how we're going to activate iron arrows. So what I've done, oops, sorry. I put them on civilian alert. What I want is active training, iron arrows. Remember I was making a big deal about making sure the iron arrows had bolts? That's what I forgot to do for the gears of blockading, who are another crossbow unit. So we're going to assign them some bolts. I'm just going to give them straight up bolts. Now the reason I increase this to 250 is because the maximum quiver can carry is 25 bolts, and I have 10 members in the unit. That's spread across all members of the unit. So now that they have, now they'll go and collect some bolts, and hopefully they should go and participate in archery practice too. I was wondering why I didn't see them ever training. When I'm trying to create a dedicated military, one of the things I will do though, is you'll notice this guy's storing items in stockpiles. It's because everybody who grows up or is a peasant usually has other hauling jobs turned on. What I'll do, and I'm just going to do this here inside the labor manager, is I'll head over here. Now, I do want military to be actively caring for wounded and getting the dead returned. I don't care about most of their legendary stuff that they got while they were kids, unless it's something that's unique to the fort. What I'll do is I'll turn off all their hauling. The reason for that, I'll turn off all their hauling except refuse. It's particularly in an undead zone. I need them to be able to dump goods, particularly corpses. I also don't want them cleaning. The entire purpose behind doing this is to make sure that they don't get distracted, or at least they get distracted as little as possible. So one final note in regards to your military alert screen. You do not have to set your archery squads to active to get them to go do archery training, but I find it very convenient and much easier to find them, and I know that they're already set to schedule for when I go change orders later. But other than that, you really don't have to. As you can see, all of my rest of my squads are set to inactive, and they will do archery training if they have crossbows and bolts. And that's it for military, and actually this episode of FurnaceClans. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you for the next installment, and I'll show you some spelunking I'm doing down in the cavern lair. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon.